in the law, there's kind of a two-sided sliding scale, right? The more openly, obviously criminal an act is, at the top of the scale, something like treason or terrorism or murder, the less we need in the way of compelling evidence, particularly of intent, if you connect somebody to that by evidence. By contrast, the more you get to a kind of a hyper-technical violation of the law, the higher you have to show, the higher a prosecutor's burden would be to show willfulness and intent and understanding and evidence along those lines. And I think the problem that you have with bribery in particular, which is what the Democrats' current theory is that, we all have kind of a common usage understanding of what bribery is. And as I've maintained, I think the framers had a very specific understanding of the kind of bribery in the nature of treason that is the bribery they intended in the impeachment clause of the Constitution. But the bribery statute itself that the Democrats are relying on is not like one straightforward crime. It's another one of these federal statutes that contains a whole bunch of different kinds of gradations of bribery, from stuff that's very obvious and straightforward to things that are a little bit more difficult to wrap your brain around and understand. And I think with this transaction, we're on that part of the scale. So you're not really talking about a completed bribe. You're talking about what they call a corrupt demand. It doesn't necessarily have to have a completion. That is, the bribe doesn't have to be paid in order for the bribery statute to attach. But at the same time, there are all kinds of proof issues that go to, for example, was the intent corrupt? So in analyzing that, the president gets the benefit, for example, even if this wasn't particularly important to him, of the fact that the statute that authorizes these payments to Ukraine calls for the government to promote anti-corruption in Ukraine. So you'll have proof issues on intent. As we saw yesterday with Sondland's testimony, you have a proof issue connecting up the official act that the Ukrainians wanted with a direct order by the president to withhold the act until the investigation was done. So these are not straightforward, easy cases to prove. And I think the gulf that you have here is the harder it is for the Democrats to explain what the misconduct is, and the more they have seemed to grope around for a theory to hang criminal liability on, the harder it is to make the much bigger step to say this is not only wrong and not only potentially criminal, but actually impeachable. And I just don't think they can get there.